It's a dramatic end. What are your reflections on the game that brings you 3 valuable points in terms of Champions League places?
Yeah, what a performance in the second half. It was more or less an equal first half. In the last 5 minutes, we almost had to give it away completely. If they scored a penalty, maybe it's over before it really starts. And then you go to halftime, maybe in a 2-0, and you have no chance to come back. But was very hard because we were 1-0 down, had 1 injured player. So I'm absolutely impressed by the reaction and by the performance in second half. I think we even deserve to win the second half. Of course, you need if you wanna steal all 3 points here at the Etihad in this situation after being 1-0 down, you need a bit of luck. You need a bit of momentum in decisions from refereeing. It's like this, but we had many half chances, many chances here in second half, and big congratulations to the team for the second half.
What did you do better in the second half?
I think better, more control. We got more and more confident, and the goal helped us a lot, because that was like, we really have the opener now, and we gained the rest of our confidence, and suddenly we could even play more physical. We could recover the balls higher. But it was a battle, and it was a physical battle, and we never stepped back, and we never gave up. And in the opposite, we increased our motivation, and it was not a bad match in first half. It was like, for me, a total 0-0. But like I said, it can change in any second, and for that, with the knowledge of that, it's even more impressive. I'm absolutely delighted by the performance second half.
Timo Werner has tremendous pace. Does he just need to add a little bit of patience?
Yeah, but it's easier said than done, because he was working like a dog. I'm not sure if we can say this, but yeah, you can. He was really working hard up front, and it was so important, and he gave them a hard time with all his runs. So once he had chances, he had them pretty exhausted, so no complaints today.
You said that today's game will have no bearing whatsoever on the Champions League final. The fact you've now beaten them twice in a row, does that give you something?
Sure, it gives us confidence, because it's all about performance and confidence. We know very well, and I said this before and I will repeat it, this result will not change, that the final is a very unique game, and you cannot predict what will happen, so you need to be well prepared, and we will have some changes again, and they will have some changes again, but we arrive with the knowledge that we are capable of beating them. This is what we have now, and this will not change until Istanbul.
Unfortunately, one negative moment for the day, Andreas Christensen. How bad is that injury, and how's that look?
Well, I hope that it's not too bad, and that we can that he can recover for the next days. But I'm not sure. This would be absolutely bittersweet if it's a longer injury.
Fingers crossed. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Andreas Christensen. Let's get straight into that astonishing second half then. Chelsea coming from behind to beat Manchester City. Hakim Ziyech has flattered to deceive at times in a Chelsea shirt, but he produced a very important goal there in the second half.
Very good finish. I think it's fair to say that he hasn't set the world alight since he's been at Stamford Bridge. It actually comes from a big mistake from Rodri, moving into an area. He had the temptation of moving into that area when you've got so much space around you and giving the ball away. We'll have a look at that in a moment, but the finish is an exceptional one. Again, a lot of Chelsea's good work came from this right-hand side, but the touch is great. If he takes the touch and it stays on the floor, it's a harder finish, but as it bounces, it leaves a nicer finish. But this is the situation, Sean. I mean, Rodri probably has a few options here.
Yeah, he definitely does for me, I think. First of all, he's doing OK at the minute, and you can see that, but I think he's waiting for Sterling to go in behind, because that will create more space. But as Sterling comes toward him, it closes the gap up for him, so he turns out, and that is basically when Chelsea push on him and pinch the ball, and I think that's where the goal comes from. But for me, if I was Rodri and I got caught in that position, I would just kick it out of play. What he does wrong is he tries to keep control and outpower people, basically, and he gets caught on the ball.
And I think you see exactly, Steve, what Pep Guardiola thinks of it. He's screaming at him to knock it into the space. And you mentioned earlier, I was at Stamford Bridge to watch them play against Real Madrid, and this was exactly the thing that they were brilliant at against Madrid. They were winning the ball in midfield and then breaking really quickly. Kante did it a couple of times, in fact, for both of their goals. So that is a good plan of theirs. They're defending so well, but they press and they smell a little danger, and they win the ball in midfield, and then they break quickly and score.
Yeah, his last 2 Chelsea goals have both come against Manchester City. So that was 1-1. Then another big moment in this game. Should Manchester City have had a penalty?
For me, yes, 100%. I think in the situation it is, for a start, he gets in behind him, but there's no way for Zuma to get the ball, and he lunges in. So if he's lunging in, and for me, Sterling's that close to him, he's got to have touched him. But I'm just more confused as to why the ref didn't go and see the VAR screen himself to have a look. Because for me, I feel like that's a big error.
Yeah, well, if Sean is talking in percentages, I'm going to say yes to the penalty as well, but I'm going to say a 70%. I don't think it was absolute cut and dry. On balance, I think it was a penalty.
What do you think VAR should have done then?
Once the ref didn't give it, I don't think it was clear and obvious, so I think it was right to just leave the decision with the referee. But that's not to say I disagree with Sean in terms of he can easily go and have a look at the monitor, he can easily give the penalty.
Only if VAR advised him to, though.
Of course.
And Stuart Atwell didn't.
And he didn't. So, yeah, my overriding thought is it should have been a penalty, just about. Once it wasn't given, then I don't think it was absolutely clear and obvious for everyone to change their mind.
I can agree with that. That's fair to say. I just feel like from a VAR perspective, if he makes, then that's showing suggestion, and the ball doesn't move. The ball keeps going straight. So I feel like that a decision should have been made.
What do you think about the person involved there, then? Because whether we like it or not, Raheem Sterling gets an awful lot of penalties. Do you think that could have had any influence in the referee's mind?
I think for me, most definitely, it could have definitely swayed the referee to not give it because he knows he goes down easily. Yeah. But like I said, if VAR have a look at it, the lunge, and I wouldn't say there's massive contact, but there's enough contact to go down when somebody's lining up to have a shot. So for me, that's why I think VAR should have said, look, just come and have a look. And if he goes and has a look and he says for him it's not a penalty, then I could understand.
OK, let's see what the former Premier League referee Dermot Gallagher thinks. You've heard Sean and Michael's view. Derm, what do you think?
I'm in both their camps. I'm with Sean. I think it's a penalty. It's clumsy. He doesn't play the ball. I'm in Michael's camp as well because I think it is a penalty, in my view, but I think it is so minimal contact that, as Michael alluded to, the VAR looks at it. Is it a clear and obvious error? He will say no, leave it with the on-field. Many, many times this season we've asked for the on-field referee to make the decision. I think in this case it's left the on-field. I feel he's got it wrong, but what I would say, he's made a genuine decision. The VAR, I can't see can overturn it, to be honest.
You say he's got it wrong, so Stuart Atwell could have said, Anthony, go and have a look?
He could if he felt that, but what you have to remember, Steve, he's there to say, is it a clear and obvious error? And as Michael alluded to before I came on, I think not. I think, in my view, it's a penalty. But it's so subjective, you know. A lot of people look at that and say, no, there's not enough contact. Only a few weeks ago, we were talking on here about how many penalties have been given. They wouldn't have been given in previous years because the tolerance level for contact has been brought down so low. So I think the balance has got to be, does the referee on the field think it's a penalty? No. Does the VAR looking at it think it's a clear and obvious error when you look at that? He thinks no. So it's left with the on-field decision.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I can't look at that and think 100% that's a penalty. I do think it's a penalty. I do think there's a bit of contact. But I can't watch that. As soon as I'm watching the game live, I'm thinking, that's Sterling. He's playing for it. We've seen it before. He can buy a challenge. He can slow down a bit, get that little bit of contact. He can do it. He's good at it. Straight away, I'm thinking the player's involved. And I don't know whether that's the right thing or not. But
let's ask him. Would that be in Anthony Taylor's mind?
I think all referees, Steve, not just Anthony Taylor, have to have blank canvas. That's the most dangerous. You prepare but don't prejudge. I think that's where you make your mistakes. And on that basis, I would say he's just seen the incident and he judges it on that incident at that point.
They're all human, Steve. They definitely have.
You're not having that from Dermot,
no, and Dermot's absolutely right to say it. But I'm human as well. And I'm thinking, we're all human. We're all thinking
but Mo, you're
thing.
taught as a striker that when the ball's going through and you're going through on goal, slow yourself down to steady yourself and take a shot. If Raheem's actually tried to slow himself down to do exactly that, and he's made minimal contact, whatever it may be, he's done the right thing to try and slow
Absolutely.
his... So then it's a penalty.
I'm all for cutting across.
Believe me, you don't need to tell him that.
Do what you want. Do everything you want for a defender to make a challenge. I'm with him.
Oh, Sean, you do not... At the Etihad, he's got the better of Pep Guardiola ahead of that Champions League final later this month.
He can do no wrong, can he? He can do absolutely no wrong. I mean, he's come in and he's picked up results in every competition. 2 finals now. The away record that they've got, the defensive record that they've got is quite staggering. And to go 1-0 down and then be facing a penalty just before half-time, he can do no wrong, can he? He can do absolutely no wrong. I mean, he's come in and he's picked up results in every competition. 2 finals now. The away record that they've got, the defensive record that they've got is quite staggering. And to go 1-0 down and then be facing a penalty just before half-time, I wouldn't have believed anyone if you'd said that Chelsea are going to get a win out of this game. And it couldn't have been more perfect for them because they've rested a few players and they've still got the 3 points, which strengthens their position in terms of the top 4 now. There's a lot of teams below them wincing at that last-minute goal. And as you say, the weight goes on for Manchester City.
It does. So, incredibly, it's been all change at the top. It began with that shock defeat for Leicester, conceding 4 goals on Friday at the KP to Newcastle. Spurs couldn't take advantage either. They conceded 3. Leeds, incidentally, have beaten all of the so-called top 6. None of the so-called top 6 have won at Ellen Road this season. Palace won 2-0 at Sheffield United. And then City, from 1-0 up, missed penalty, lose 2-1 at home to Chelsea. Liverpool, as I say, have the opportunity to go above Spurs next. We're watching them at home to Southampton. So then Manchester City will watch Sunday's fixtures with interest, particularly at Villa Park. Aston Villa win that game, Manchester City are crowned champions. Manchester United draw or win, then the wait will go on to Tuesday night. And, of course, a huge game as well in terms of the Champions League and European places in general. David Moyes' West Ham up against his former club, Everton, at the London Stadium. The Monday Night Football is Fulham against Burnley. So City remain on 80 points. The big difference there is Chelsea going above Leicester. Brendan Rodgers' side looking over their shoulder. If West Ham beat Everton tomorrow, then the points difference is just 2. Remember, Leicester have to play Chelsea, Manchester United and Spurs in their remaining 3 games. Liverpool, as I say, if they beat Southampton at Anfield next, go above Spurs onto 57, a point behind West Ham. Leeds, incidentally, after that win earlier on, up to 9th. Looking bleak at the bottom, the gap 9 points between Fulham and Burnley, and Southampton, who are watching next away at Anfield, 10 points clear of Scott Parker's side.